like Fed's going to start moving on those rates again and in the direction we went. In fact, we set records at the markets Friday. I think we set records Monday, Tuesday. Who knows what's going to happen today? We're watching it all kind of take place. A lot of that's, other things too, China trade deals, et cetera. My good friend Kevin Yoder's here with us right now. A lot of people wonder, speaking of, he's like the king of real estate here in West Michigan. Kevin's the guy, if you want to sell your house, or you want to buy a house, you want to do anything, you just have questions and you're like, I don't know what to do. Kevin's the guy I call when it comes to all these things. But Kevin, first of all, welcome in. Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks, brother. So great to see you again as well. Appreciate you having me on.
There's a lot of questions about whether homes are moving or they're not moving, or what happens in a market like this when you got these interest rates the way they are, and people want to see them come down. I think it's going to save a lot of folks a lot of money. What's your take on it? What are you seeing right now, and where things are going, and what the market looks like as we speak?
Yeah, let me start with this, Justin. Everyone's talking about mortgage interest rates like they're sky high right now. But that's mostly perception. It's really not reality. At the start of 2025, the 30-year fixed mortgage was around 7%, but today it's actually more than 1% lower. It's like I looked at them this morning, 5.875. So it's a big drop. And historically speaking, today's rates are actually pretty good. People forget, and historically speaking, if you go back to when they first started tracking them, it's 7% back in 1971. So people forget in 2021, rates at 2.75 to 3%, home prices were through the roof, inspections were being waived, multiple offers, it just absolute chaos. And so at a place where we're at the high 5s and 6s, I think people are missing the forest for the trees, and they're not capitalizing on the opportunity that's right in front of us. And that perspective goes back, if you look at 1981, 18.673, 1985, 13.29%. Even 2000, 25 years ago, when I bought my first house, interest rates were 8.64%. So, at the takeaway here is at 5% range, actually below the long-term average, we're talking about some of the lowest interest rates in the last 50 years. And I think that people have amnesia when it comes to this kind of thing. I do.
Well, it's interesting because as you mentioned this, it's so funny. I'm watching, I'm on YouTube watching all kinds of stupid stuff, but I get a little nostalgia watching. They have videos. This is how crazy the times are, right? That we live in. The videos of commercials from the 1980s, and I wanted to start watching them, and I'm like, oh man, what a simpler time it was. And they show these, and they show car videos, and the Dodge this and the Chevy that, and they're like, with low interest rates of 5 or 6 or 7, whatever it was. And I'm like, wow. Yeah. So that just to your point. What is all this doing to the market right now when it comes to buying homes, selling homes, that kind of thing?
Well, I think that the challenge is it's perception, and perception is reality. So if buyers were looking at an objective viewpoint of the market, they would look at interest rates that are favorable from a 30-year standpoint. Well, I just gave you the numbers on it, and they would look at affordability. They would look at the fact that right now a $300,000 home, which would have been $350,000 back in 2022, would cost you about $2,085 a month compared to about $1,834 a month. That's a $250 difference in payment. And so you might think, well, that's $250, but we're spending $250 on all sorts of nonsense a month anyway. But the point is that you could be a homeowner. You can be a homeowner and build equity and build wealth. So it's creating some hesitation. It's creating some uncertainty, but not like it should be. And I think that's a big thing. So right now, days on the market is up from last year. We're about twice as long on the market. I think that the sellers out there, if you're thinking about this and you hear bad market or good market, or anybody that's listening to this, it's super important to know this. Stop saying that. There's no bad market or good market. There are just markets. And we're moving from an extreme seller's market into a balanced market, which means that buyers and sellers can navigate around a lot more easily than we could have 3 or 4 years ago. So there's some hesitancy. Seasonality is playing into it here in West Michigan, which means this time of year, things tend to slow down a little bit. And I think that this could really turn into an amazing opportunity for both buyers and sellers. Sellers that want to sell their home and buy a new one, there's a lot more room to move around there, a lot more time you have on your side. And buyers, If you want to get a value for a home, they're not as high as they were before, and interest rates are actually pretty good. It's not time to sit
Kevin,
on the sidelines.
I hate to cut you off. We got to get to a commercial break here in the Glenn Beck program coming up in just a moment. Can you hang on just for a moment? I know some
Yeah.
folks have some questions. I think you might be willing to answer off the air here too in the after show. We'll get to some of that coming up in just a moment. The question is, what do you do? Kevin's selling homes, and probably better and faster than anybody else. So if you got a home that you need to sell, how do you get into it? Kevin, in the meantime, best way for them to reach out if they want to get in touch with you.
Sure, easy. You go to yoderrealestate.com. Yoder, or actually, you can go to soldbyyoder.com, soldbyyoder.com. I'll move my chair around so you can see the domain. There it is. Soldbyyoder.com. There you go, right there. You can also just give us a call right at our office number, 942-2449, even though the number on the back there. Don't call that number there because that's the side number. 616-942-2449. That's our office number, or soldbyyoder.com.
There you go. All right, folks. Kevin, appreciate you as always.
You bet, brother.
Back with
Thank you,
more. The Glenn Beck program is coming up next. In the meantime, folks, we got an after show. The fastest hour on radio just flies right by. Make it a great one. God bless.
Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
Changes in the air
It's
this fall, not
Cybersecurity
just with the
Awareness
weather,
Month.
but with the market, with interest rates, inflation, layoffs, and more. Laurel Stewart, president of Matson Financial Services. What do you recommend as we look at every...
All right, quickly, questions for Kevin. I know you probably got to run here soon, but questions for Kevin.
Good.
Have them drop them in the chat. My question would be, Kevin, what? Because I know, like right now, trying to sell a home, especially if you really need to or you want to, and you got folks who are in all kinds of different lanes, like people that are retiring, they need to move into, kind of want to downsize, they want to make the move. You got people that may need to sell their home because they want to upgrade, or you got people that want to sell their home because they got to get out of town. They got to move, whatever it might be. What are you doing? And obviously, I know you do something completely different than what most people do, but what are you doing to get those things sold?
So 25 years experience is a long time to be doing something. So there are nuances within the practice, just like anything else you might be up to. So if we're looking at selling a home, I know how to do this by lining the seller up in the right way, making sure the home is properly staged. How does it look? What's the presentation? Because there's product, there's positioning, and then there's negotiating. So the product is what we're selling. So we have to make sure that the product is sound. I'm an expert in that area. I say that humbly speaking, but I really know how to get a home. I can get it sold that was on the market for 6 months. I did it 5 or 6 times this year. Unsold, same market, same product. How is that possible? Because we position the property, the actual product. We make sure it's the shiniest penny on the street. That's the starting point. And then we look at how many tools in our tool belt do we have to advertise a piece of real estate? Well, come to find out, there's actually hundreds and maybe even thousands of things that an agent can do. When they're handed their tool belt, when they walk into their brokerage on day one, their tool belt's only filled with certain tools. Now imagine having that same tool belt, but having 25 years of different tools to fill it and say, look, I can advertise it here. The other agents aren't doing that. They either don't have the financial means by which to accomplish that, or they don't even know that particular marketing medium exists. And so I got to turn a few more heads, get a few more people interested, have it all to come together in a convergence of activity, get multiple offers going, and we will get it sold. About half the time, by the way, as the average agent.
That's incredible. And especially when people are in a pinch, you just mentioned you got a home that's been on the market for 6 months. I can imagine that's probably pretty stressful for people in those times.
It's a lot stressful. It's very hard because we're not used to that. I mean, so many folks are used to what it was like 2 or 3 years ago. They can't believe it. It's actually, I've been around long enough where the average days in the market in 2011 and 10 was 12 months. So when someone says I've been on the market for 30 days, I'm kind of upset. I have to coach them and let them know that perspective is helpful, that this is normal for today's market, 2 or 3 weeks, a month, but 6 months, no, not for this market. We're dealing with absorption rates. And if a home is on the market for more than 30, 40 days, we're in the danger zone. When the market shifts more into a buyer's market, that'd be pretty normal. But right now it's not.
What do you expect to happen in the next, let's say, 6 months? All these things start to kind of come into play with the interest rates and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's going to happen in 26, and no one knows. I'm not going to say that I have that crystal ball, but doing this long enough, we're looking at a slow and steady increase. Real estate had a major, it went like that for a couple of years there, and that's just unnatural. It's unnatural. It's not supposed to do that. And so when that happens, it needs to come back down. So that happened. Now we're moving ourselves slowly back up. But people say like home prices are out of control. I think that it's super helpful to stop catastrophizing. And it's super helpful to stop going to extremes. Out of control, like based on what? I mean, out of control would mean that it's out of control. They're not out of control. In fact, prices have reset in most parts of the country. They're down from where they were 2 or 3 years ago. In West Michigan, they're settling down a little bit. I mean, they're going up, we're going to probably go up, 3 to 5% next year. Interest rates hovering in that 5% range. It's a sweet spot to be in. And that's what I think is going to happen. And folks just have got to stop reading stuff if it's not based on objective data. Lean into the numbers. Know your numbers. If you're going to say something and you let that be the guide by which you make a major purchasing or selling decision, at least have the facts. At least lay them out in front of you before you're making a decision. Or listen to people that have been doing something for a long time, not just your uncle who sold a home 10 years ago. Bad idea.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. Whenever I need help with something, I was just working on something in my house the other day, and I kind of have like a 5-minute rule. I don't know if I can't look at it in 5 minutes and figure it out, and if I run into a problem, I got to call somebody. I got to get some help. I could just do some things on YouTube. I can look at YouTube and figure out maybe even how to do open heart surgery, Kevin. That's how much.
Please don't do that. We can rip our own molars out with a pair of rusty pliers too, but we go to the dentist for good reason.
I was just saying, so wouldn't do it on myself, but I could probably figure it out. But at the end of the day, so like I called a guy in Handyman the other day to just do it. There were a couple things that were hanging over my head. It's like, I got to get this stuff done. I feel so much better once I did. But calling somebody when they have the answers, and the guy comes in and like 5 minutes later, it's done. So if I can't do it, why not? So that's what I do is I call the experts. And any questions I have, real estate wise, I'm calling Kevin. Thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure. Come back and give us more updates. I know we're going to be talking about this stuff for a long time.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. Anytime.